Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Yes, folks, another day in paradise. This is New York Hudson Valley area fish kill, and we're gonna kick off the Tinker Day. You know, just normal stuff, managing your problems. That's what life's about. You got a problem, manage it. And I got a flat, I need to manage it. I got here last night and that tire was down to like 12, 13 PSI. I should have aired it up before I left Jim's, but I didn't think to check it. Didn't look bad, but it was. So I'm gonna air it up, get down to Uncle Steve's, and try to find the leak in it there. Down to 3.5 PSI, I gotta say. Kinda nice having that little Milwaukee air inflator. That thing will make you spoiled. Ah, yes, it's going up. I was starting to wonder if I broke my bead, but I didn't. I am here at Uncle Steve's, and I believe I'm about to replace the front struts on this vehicle. We checked them out the other day. They're bouncing around. He's getting vibration through the steering wheel after he hits a bump because they keep reverbing. I think they're aftermarket, but I think all the other stuff on them is still good. So since they're so soft and bouncing around, which is not the characteristics of a bad Volvo strut, we're going to replace them. Now, on a bad Volvo strut, they get more harsh, and then they tear up other things like your spring seats and stuff. It looked like these spring seats were still good. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and replace these struts, maybe a mount or two in here, and then work on the other vehicle that he's now driving. Hopefully this sun will creep slowly into this area where I could work in the shade. If not, I have to take it in the garage and finish it in the garage. It's not bad right now in the shade. As you can see, the sun moved on me real fast. I had to move this on the inside, and I've got one strut out, getting ready to rebuild it. Then I remembered I got leaking cam seals on this car, so I'll be taking cam seals and stuff out. So I need to get my cam locking tools and keep it moving. Got this strut taken loose from the strut assembly. Look at this thing. Absolutely has no ability to modulate any bumps or nothing. This will cause your steering wheel to jump around, and this car will bounce around like crazy every time you hit a bump. It's still not built up nothing. Let me go grab a new shock and try to do that with it. Just for starters, the Volvo struts is what I call dual modulating, so they modulate in and out. And this thing is not even coming up. Even when I hold it, comes up nice and slow. See how long it's taking that thing to come out. I'm pulling with 3 times the energy that I tried to pull that last one out, and I'm pushing down with the same energy, trying to pull it up. See, this thing is a lot different than that last one. Trying to push it down. It's just no comparison. Let me get this installed. This other one didn't have no bump stops or nothing, or they were totally destroyed and eaten away. So I'm putting this together with no washer that was here. That washer's missing, and the bump stop's missing. Wow. I couldn't see that with the strut installed. So let me go ahead and put this together. Doesn't even have the boot that slides over the strut. That's missing on this one too. Well, okay, let's put this back together. I actually don't see any tears in the top of this, and this is where I checked it. before we ordered parts, and now I look in the bottom, it does have tears in the bottom. So this spring seat needs to be replaced. So I'm gonna recommend that he get some more parts to, unfortunately, redo this job. This may have been some kind of strut kit that he bought, or somebody put on here, some quick strut. Just didn't have the parts that Volvos normally have, and it was a mess. Since this wheel's off, this strut is out, this is the best time for me to do this timing belt job. That's what it is, with cam seals. But I let this CV axle hyperextend out a little bit. I'm going to have to fix that. There's not really any tension on this brake hose, but this thing extended out further than I expected it would. So I'm going to wrestle putting that back in when it's time to put that back in. But let me go ahead and take this timing belt off after I set the timing and get this job cracking. Pretty sure I ordered cam seals. I didn't see them in that box, but there was another little box back there. So let me get that box and open it up. Something went terribly wrong with this order. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aftermarket, looks like rear cam seals, and then 2 Volvo rear cam seals, which is what I would use, and no front cam seals. Yikes. So I need to go out to my car, see if I got some front cam seals I could use, because this is not going to work. Saved by the stash. I do have 2 front cam seals in my stash part supply. So I'm gonna go ahead and tear this timing apart, put on my cam locking tool, and get with this. Taking off the stuff off the back so I can put the cam locking tool on, and as you can see, this rotor is pointing 10 o'clock. So I'm gonna take that off, make sure I point at 10 o'clock. The cam sensor out. Oh man, this cam sensor was actually pretty loose. The bolts were barely snug on there. See if I can get this off without destroying anything. Lay this down here, and that ring is quarter moon down, half moon down. Let me put some light on it so you can see what I'm talking about. This ring, this part is down, not up. So when I put that back together, and as you can see, somebody tried to glue a cam seal in there and it's still leaking. So I'm gonna get that cam seal out, this cam seal out, and 2 on the other side. There's some crazy stuff. Let me pop a 10mm on there, pop those loose. This is really something. Look at all that red stuff in there. And that cam cover seal crap. You see that one's leaking, still got that orange stuff in there. The person that did this head job, man, needs to stay far away from him. But, you know, when you use aftermarket seals, they just start leaking after a while. I haven't done a glove test on this, but I will after I get this job done. And there's a bolt missing out of the head there to hold this bracket on. So I'll probably put that in as well. I might have to fight those cam seals out even though they're leaking. But it is lunchtime, so I'm about to hit lunch, come back, and continue on this timing belt job. I am back from lunch, and somewhere along the way, I broke my little screwdriver. That kind of sucks. I was using that screwdriver to try to dig stuff out, and I don't see it in there. I was digging in there last I checked. So let me try to drill a pilot hole in here. Get these cam seals out. I don't see no other way. They're not falling out, but they're leaking. So let me pull those out of there, clean that mess up, put some Volvo cam seals in there and install the locking tools. One of the seals came out with the drill bit. The other one didn't, so I'm going to try to pull it out. Got both of them set in with my cam seal install tool. Sets them in the perfect depth. Let me go ahead and install the cam locking tool so I can get the front cams. Cam locking tools installed. Remember, those slots are offset. Tools are identical. So you lock those in. You could take those cam sprockets off the front without worrying about the cams turning. Put the belt on, make sure the crank is on the mark and the cams will be on the mark. Put the belt on, set it, tension on it, you're perfect timing. That seal started falling out again on the bottom. I pushed it in up here, and this one is, I guess, leaking just a little bit. And it's got that weird silver sealing in the head. So let me get these seals out and press in the new ones. Timing belt cover is smashed. Big old piece missing out of it. Use my seal install tool to install those two Volvo camshaft seals. Look at that, setting perfectly around that reset, front and back. I nicked that cam just a little bit, so I rubbed it with the screwdriver tip to get it as smooth as possible. Hopefully it won't leak. If it does, that's why. Nicked it trying to put a drill bit into the cam seal to get it out. Then I ended up just putting a screwdriver on it and twisting it, and it popped right out. If you got a manual, chances are those bushings are torn out of your cables. I have these bearings with me, so if you got a manual and I'm with you, you want me to check these and replace the bearings, let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and replace the bushings on these real quick and see if he noticed the difference without me telling him. Time to change the reservoir. A lot of people don't know this, but you can change the reservoir without draining any coolant. You just flip that thing totally over like that, or just siphon some of the stuff out with a turkey baster. Take the hose off of that one, put it on this one, secure the hose. Now carefully pour it in here. You can use a funnel or whatever, but if you look down there, it's already started filling up after I hooked the hose up to it. So you just got to keep the hose high, and as soon as you take it off of there, put it on here, and you don't spill any coolant. So let me go ahead and pour that in here, and then take that top hose off. And then put the cap on it, pop this off of there, and put it in the bottom of there, or you can pop that off of there now. Better to do it when it's empty. There it is, draining in there. Hard to believe it, but some crazy person had this as a top strut, the knuckle bolt. Instead of a bolt like that, they had this bolt like this. That's probably a 12 or 14, and this is probably a 10, a size or two down. So I'm gonna see if I can find one of these in my hardware patch and put the right bolt and nut in there. Didn't find the right bolt, but I did find a bigger bolt. So put the larger bolt in there, torqued it, put this on here. Now I'm gonna hook up the ABS wire and the sway bar end link and close this side up. But I'm gonna start the car before I put the timing belt cover on, just to watch that timing belt track and make sure that's good. So I'm gonna do the other strut, put the car on the ground, fire it up. Last thing I need to do over here is find one of those plastic nuts for that. I do have one. I got the sway bar end link in and tight. I got the ABS wire in. I got these two bolts tight. That one's a little longer than normal, but I don't think that'll be a problem. It's a bigger bolt that was in there. Then I riveted these things in here. This thing is still busted, so that'll need to be replaced. I put a correct bolt in here that had some weird 10mm bolt in it. We had a 10mm bolt missing from the throttle body cable assembly, and I'm getting ready to zip tie this throttle body cable in here. It is broke at this link. Somebody had it jammed under this turbo pipe. So I'm gonna zip tie that there, and he can replace that later if he wants. I did replace that eaten up poly bushing there. So I'm gonna drop the battery in, and there's a nut there. I'm not sure where that came from, but the battery clips there. So we should be good to go. I'm going to put the wheel on this side, move to the next side for the strut. I got about an hour before I need to be out of here because the band is coming. I thought I was done over here. He needs a hub because he's got a stud in there. I didn't try to get that out, but heck, that thing looks loose. It may come out. I'm going to try to twist that out. Maybe put a lug nut in there. This wasn't tucked around here right. Get that right, there's less chance of rust building up behind there. So let me see if I can turn that out. I sprayed some PB Blaster on this the other day. I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but man, that thing turned right out. So I'm gonna go get another lug nut so he can have 5 lug nuts on this wheel. I got a serious mess here. But the car is together. Only thing we need is that bushing there and that pipe area. I'm getting ready to fire it up. Make sure it starts idles and timing belt tracks. Then I can put the timing belt cover on and take this thing for a test drive. See if it'll fire up in neutral. Timing belts tracking great. Took a while to start, but it did start. So I'm gonna shut it off, put this cover on, so we don't get carbon monoxide poisoning in here. I am not going to be able to tear this dash out and fix this dash, so I put the lower panel back together, and it's going to have to ride like that till I get back in a few weeks. And that's it for today. Uncle Steve went for a test drive. He should be back any minute, and I need to clean up my stuff and get out of here. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.